What if I told you that your biggest problem isn't the economy, your boss, your partner, or the lack of time, but a fundamental error in how you perceive reality? Most people walk through life as if they are passengers on a ship being tossed by every storm, reacting to every gust of wind and blaming the waves for their lack of direction. You have been trained, conditioned, really, to believe that you are a product of your circumstances. You believe that if the world were different, you would be happy, successful, and calm. But the ancient Stoics discovered a truth that the modern world works desperately to keep hidden. External events have zero power over your character unless you grant them permission. There is one rule, one specific mechanism of thought that separates those who remain stuck in a cycle of frustration from those who navigate life with absolute, immovable command. It is not a new productivity hack, nor is it a positive thinking ritual. It is a radical shift in how you allocate your mental energy. By the end of this video, you will possess a tool that, once understood, makes it impossible to view your life the same way again. The noise of the world is loud, but it is powerless against a mind that knows its own borders. Are you ready to stop reacting to the world and start defining it? Let's begin. Most people walk through life convinced that their frustrations are external. You blame your job, your partner, or the state of the world for your lack of progress. You believe that if only the circumstances changed, your internal state would finally stabilize. This is the great illusion of the modern age, the belief that you are a victim of your environment. But here is the brutal truth you are refusing to see. The primary cause of your lack of control isn't what is happening to you, but the way you are anchored to the opinions of others. We live in a state of constant, subconscious synchronization with those around us. We dress for them, we speak to impress them, we choose our goals based on what will gain their approval, and we crumble when their validation is withdrawn. This is not living, this is performing. You're effectively tethered to the moods, criticisms, and expectations of people who, in many cases, don't even know what they want for their own lives. You are carrying an invisible anchor that prevents you from moving forward, because every step you take requires permission from an audience that is constantly shifting its gaze. The Stoics referred to this as living for the sake of the gallery. When you are anchored to the opinion of others, you become a puppet. If they praise you, you feel high. If they ignore or criticize you, you feel diminished. You have handed over the keys to your emotional kingdom to people who have no interest in your growth. This is the hidden trap. You think you are being social, polite, or connected, but you are actually eroding your own sovereignty. You are so busy reacting to the signals of the crowd that you have lost the ability to hear your own internal guidance. To break this, you must recognize that the need for external validation is a sign of internal starvation. You are looking for a sense of worth from the outside because you haven't yet mastered the ability to generate it from within. You are waiting for the world to tell you that you are enough before you feel empowered to act. But the world will never give you that confirmation. The moment you achieve one level of approval, the goalposts move. The first step to true Stoic awakening is realizing that you are currently an extension of your environment. You are a reaction to the noise. You are not yet a primary source of your own direction. This is not a failure, it is a starting point. Once you acknowledge that you have been operating on borrowed energy that is dependent on the fleeting opinions of others, you can begin the process of cutting the anchor. You cannot master your life while you are still trying to please everyone in it. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. +5. Exclusive bonuses. The Silent Power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple: will you continue reacting to life, or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today. Most people are trapped in the delusion that more is the secret to success. You believe that if you work more hours, take on more projects, or consume more information, you will eventually reach a state of fulfillment. You have equated activity with progress and busyness with importance. This is the second great error that keeps you stuck. You are not failing because you lack effort. You are failing because your effort is directionless, scattered across 1,000 trivialities that keep you spinning in place. In the modern world, we are conditioned to believe that a quiet mind is an unproductive mind. We are taught that if we aren't constantly doing, we are falling behind. So you fill every gap in your schedule. You listen to podcasts at double speed, you check emails at dinner, and you treat every minor request as an emergency. You are in a constant state of doing mode, which is the antithesis of the Stoic state of being mode. When you are constantly doing, you are merely reacting to the demands of the world. You are a leaf in the wind, convinced that because you are moving, you are in control. The reality is that your nervous system is in a state of chronic high alert. By trying to do everything at once, you have fractured your capacity for deep, sustained focus. Think of your mental energy like a laser beam. When it is focused, it can cut through steel. But when you scatter that light across a wide room, it doesn't even have the power to warm a piece of paper. This is what you are doing to your life. You are diffusing your energy to the point of irrelevance. You are busy, yes, but you are ineffective. The Stoics understood that the highest form of discipline is the ability to decline what is non-essential. It is not about how much you can fit into a day. It is about how much you can strip away until only the essential remains. Many of you feel exhausted, not because you aren't strong enough, but because you are carrying weight that doesn't belong to you. You are carrying the weight of other people's expectations, the weight of unnecessary commitments, and the weight of constant digital noise. You need to shift your perspective from volume to velocity. Velocity is speed in a specific direction. You have speed, but you lack the direction. You are running in circles, burning through your precious mental fuel for no gain. The error here is the belief that you must be on 24/7 to remain relevant. In reality, the most impactful people, the ones who truly shape their environments, are those who have mastered the art of intentional absence. They are not always available. They are not always reacting. They are guarding their energy with the ferocity of a king protecting his borders. Stop measuring your day by your task list and start measuring it by the clarity of your intent. Are you moving toward a goal you chose, or are you just busy because the world demands it? You are stuck because you are trying to be everything to everyone, and in the process, you have become nothing to yourself. It is time to stop the frantic movement and start the deliberate execution. True power is not found in doing more. It is found in doing the right thing with total, unwavering presence. Most people treat their morning as a battlefield where they are the first casualty. You wake up, you hit snooze on your alarms, and then you immediately surrender to the digital influx of notifications, emails, and news cycles. You have allowed the world to breach your walls before you have even brushed your teeth. This is a profound error in your daily architecture. The Stoics, specifically Marcus Aurelius, practiced something far more tactical. They didn't just start their day, they occupied it. The habit you need is what I call the morning siege. It is not about productivity, it is not about morning yoga, and it is not about self-care. It is about a preemptive strike on your own mind to ensure it belongs to you before you let the world in. When you wake up, your mind is at its most malleable state. If you feed it chaos, it will spend the rest of the day in a state of reaction. If you feed it purpose, you build a fortress that is nearly impenetrable to the day's inevitable setbacks. The morning siege consists of 3 non-negotiable steps. First, total isolation. No phone, no internet, no news. The moment you open your digital devices, you are inviting the problems, opinions, and emergencies of others into your personal sanctuary. You are essentially letting strangers dictate your emotional baseline for the day. You must guard the first 30 minutes of your waking life, as if your sovereignty depends on it, because it does. Second, the pre-mortem of temptation. Instead of looking at your calendar and worrying about the outcome of your tasks, sit in silence and visualize the most likely stressors you will face today. Will you be annoyed by a specific person? Will you be tempted to procrastinate on a difficult project? Will you be prone to anger when things don't go according to plan? By preloading your responses, you are not reacting to these events when they occur. You are greeting them as old, expected acquaintances. You rob the chaos of its power to surprise you. Third, the commitment to virtue. Before you step into the world, define the character you will be today. Not the goals you will achieve, but the man or woman you will embody. Will you be patient today, even when provoked? Will you be focused, even when distracted? This is an exercise in intentionality. You are literally programming your behavior for the next 12 hours. This habit is rarely practiced because it feels too slow for our dopamine-addicted brains. We want the hack, we want the quick win. But there is no shortcut to mental strength. The morning siege is an invisible act of war against your own tendency to drift. It is the practice of asserting your will over your environment. By the time you finally step out into the world, you are no longer a passenger waiting for a signal. You are a commander who has already surveyed the terrain, anticipated the ambushes, and set your course. You are not waiting for life to happen to you. You have decided how you will handle it. Chapter 4. The Biological Prison. Why your brain betrays you. We have discussed the habits of silence and the dangers of external dependence, but to truly master yourself, you must understand why these behaviors are so difficult to override. You are not just dealing with bad habits or a lack of willpower. You are fighting against a biological architecture that was designed for survival in the Pleistocene, not for success in the modern digital age. Your brain is wired for social belonging. For our ancestors, being cast out of the tribe meant certain death. Therefore, the brain evolved a social radar, a constant background process that scans the environment for signs of approval or rejection. This is why you feel a literal physical itch to check your notifications. It is the biological equivalent of an ancestor checking the perimeter for predators or signs of tribal exclusion. When someone likes your post, your brain releases dopamine, signaling that you are safe and accepted by the tribe. When you are ignored or criticized, it triggers the same neural pathways as physical pain. The Stoics didn't have neurobiology, but they identified the mechanism perfectly. They called it the ruling faculty, the part of the mind that makes judgments. They realized that when we are triggered by others, we have made a false judgment. We have judged that the opinion of others is a good or a bad thing rather than a neutral external event. You are physiologically addicted to the feedback loop of external validation. You are not weak. You are simply misaligned with your own biology. The mechanism of control, then, is not to try to stop being human, but to manually override this biological alarm system. When you feel that surge of anxiety, that impulse to defend yourself, or that desperation to check in, recognize it for what it is: an outdated survival mechanism misfiring in a modern context. You are having an emotional reaction to a digital signal that carries no actual threat to your survival. This is where the Stoic practice of objective representation comes in. Instead of feeling the sting of a comment or the urge to react, you describe the event to yourself in the most clinical, stripped-down language possible. Someone criticized your work. Instead of thinking, "They don't respect me," you think, "A person has moved their fingers across a keyboard to express a negative opinion." That is the reality. The judgment of disrespect is something you added. By labeling your impulses as biological noise, you create a gap between the event and your response. In that gap, you reclaim your sovereignty. You are no longer a slave to your social radar. You have hacked your own evolution, choosing to be driven by your values rather than the chemical impulses of your hunter-gatherer brain. This is the difference between a person who is run by their instincts and a person who is governed by their reason. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. +5. Exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple: will you continue reacting to life, or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today. To understand how silence and focus operate as a weapon rather than a passive retreat, we must look to the history of Archimedes during the siege of Syracuse. The Romans were at the gates, their might unmatched, their legions ready to crush the city. Most of the citizens were panicking, screaming and running in circles. They were in total reactive mode, just like you are when life throws a crisis at you. But Archimedes, he stayed in his room, drawing geometric shapes in the sand. He was not ignoring the war. He was using his mind to engineer its conclusion. While the Roman army was busy making noise and charging forward, Archimedes was silent. He was deep in the internal architecture of problem-solving. He designed mirrors, catapults, and claw-like machines that terrified the Roman navy. He didn't waste his energy yelling at the soldiers. He didn't try to defend his honor or argue with the Roman commanders. He simply focused on the leverage point, the exact mathematical vulnerability of the Roman fleet, and he waited for the right moment to strike. This is the Stoic lesson in action. Sovereignty is engineering, not emotion. The Roman soldiers were driven by anger, pride, and the desire for conquest, classic external motivators. Archimedes was driven by the internal application of reason. Because he was silent and focused, he was able to see things the Romans could not. He saw the physics of the battle, while they only saw the intensity of the fight. When he finally acted, his machines destroyed an entire fleet with a precision that seemed like magic. You are currently fighting your own Roman Empire. Your critics, your anxieties, your endless to-do lists, and your need for validation are the soldiers at your gate. Your natural biological tendency, the one we discussed in the previous chapter, is to run out and fight them with noise. You want to explain, you want to justify, you want to react. You think that if you are loud enough, you will be safe. But silence is your defensive wall. By withdrawing your energy from the noise and channeling it into a single strategic point, you create your own machines of defense. Consider the difference in energy. The Romans burned through thousands of lives and massive resources to siege the city, while Archimedes, with nothing but a stick and some sand, neutralized the threat. When you stop reacting to the world, You stop wasting your resources. You stop spending your mental capital on arguments that don't change anything. You save it. You store it. And when the time comes to launch your machine, your project, your career change, your hard conversation, it strikes with the force of an entire army, because you haven't wasted your power on the chaos. History does not remember the soldiers who shouted the loudest. It remembers the mind that stayed the calmest. Are you the soldier running around screaming at the walls, or are you the one drawing in the sand, preparing a response that will change the game entirely? The choice is yours. You now understand the biological trap of validation, the historical weight of Archimedes' silence, and the structural errors keeping you stuck. But knowledge without a mechanism for implementation is merely entertainment. You are likely still wondering, how do I do this when I am in the middle of a high-pressure day? You need a protocol. You need a drill that you can run whenever your internal alarm system starts firing. This is what I call the tactical withdrawal. Most people believe that to be strong, you must engage. If a coworker is being unreasonable, you argue. If a notification pops up, you check it. If someone on social media says something you disagree with, you feel the urge to educate them. You are confusing engagement with power. The truth is that in a world designed to provoke you, the highest level of strength is the ability to strategically withdraw your presence. Here is your drill. It consists of 3 phases to be applied the moment you feel that itch of reaction. 1. The physical freeze. The moment you feel the spike of emotion, that tightness in your chest, or the sudden urge to type a response, you must physically freeze. Do not move your hands. Do not shift your posture. Stop. This break in physical momentum interrupts the neural feedback loop between your emotional trigger and your habitual reaction. You are literally denying the fight signal the physical expression it craves. 2. The 60-second vacuum. While you are physically frozen, you must create a vacuum of output. For 1 full minute, you are not allowed to produce a word, a gesture, or a digital input. If you are in a meeting, look down at your notes. If you are on your phone, turn the screen off and look at the wall. During this minute, you're not thinking about a response. You are observing the impulse to respond as if it were a weather pattern passing through your field of view. You are practicing being the observer, not the participant. 3. The Stoic inquiry. After the 60 seconds, ask yourself one question. If I say nothing, will the world end, or will my character remain intact? Almost every time you will realize that your reaction is about your ego, not the situation. If the answer is that the situation is trivial, you must remain silent. You walk away, you close the tab, you move to the next task. By doing this, you have successfully withdrawn your energy from a non-essential event. This exercise will feel incredibly uncomfortable at first. You will feel as though you are losing by not engaging. You will feel a sense of powerlessness. But this is the crucial moment. That discomfort is the feeling of your old, reactive identity dying. Every time you successfully complete a tactical withdrawal, you are stripping away a layer of that external dependence we discussed in the first chapter. You are teaching your nervous system that it does not need to react to every stimulus to survive. You are reclaiming the right to choose when you engage, rather than being forced to engage by every minor irritation. Start using this today. Do not wait for a big moment. Practice it on the small stuff. The annoying email, the passive-aggressive text, the temptation to jump into a pointless online debate. Master the withdrawal in the small things, and you will find that when the real storms of life arrive, your ability to stay anchored will be automatic. We have dismantled the illusions that held you back. We exposed the trap of external dependence, the fallacy of frantic busyness, the power of the morning siege, the biological prisons of your own design, the strategic brilliance of silent engineering, and the precision of the tactical withdrawal. You have been stripped of the excuses that once comforted your ego, and you have been equipped with the tools of the ancient masters. Yet the final step, the awakening itself, is not something I can give you. It is a threshold you must cross alone. The final transformation is the realization that you are not a character in the story written by your environment. You are the architect. For years, you have been playing a part scripted by the expectations of others, the pressures of society, and the knee-jerk reactions of your own untamed mind. You thought that success meant earning the applause of that environment. The final Stoic awakening is the quiet, terrifying, and exhilarating realization that the audience you have been performing for does not exist. They are not watching you. They are too busy trapped in their own reactive loops. You have been living in fear of a ghost. When you truly internalize this, your identity shifts. You stop asking, "What will they think if I do this?" And you start asking, "Does this action align with the sovereign life I am building?" This is the death of the performer and the birth of the sovereign. A sovereign does not announce their intentions to gain approval. They execute them to fulfill a purpose. A sovereign does not get offended by the opinions of the crowd, because the sovereign knows that the crowd is merely a sea of noise, while their own purpose is a fixed star. You have spent too long trying to navigate the currents of other people's expectations. Now you stand on the shore. You have the map, you have the tools, and you have the discipline. The silence you have cultivated is not a void. It is the space where your true intentions finally have room to breathe. When you choose to remain silent in the face of provocation, you are not being weak. You are asserting that your internal peace is far too valuable to be traded for a moment of validation. This is your final test. The world will continue to pull at you. It will demand your energy, your time, and your reaction. It will try to lure you back into the performance. But you are no longer the same person who clicked on this video. You have seen the mechanism. You have felt the weight of your own potential. To return to your old habits now would be a betrayal of the truth you have uncovered. Go forth and live this. Do not announce your change to the world. Let the world notice the change in you. Let your silence be so profound that it makes others uncomfortable. Let your focus be so sharp that it makes the distracted tremble. You are not here to fit into the world. You are here to command your own soul. The path to sovereignty is not paved with words, but with the quiet, consistent execution of your values. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. Plus 5 exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple: will you continue reacting to life, or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today.